Hi there, Tori, Jacob says as I meet him in the library the next day after class. We had decided that the library was probably one of the best places to have this conversation. The trails were more private, but then again, it was still the dead of winter, and although there wasn't any snow on the ground, it was still frigid outside. Hey, Jacob, I reply. How was your Christmas break? It started out well, he says as he rolls his eyes. Then Virginia's parents reached out to us. I guess you can imagine how well that went down with my dad's. I don't really know them all that well, I admit. I'm guessing they were not too happy with you for making a contract. They said they weren't mad, just disappointed, Jacob tells me, and I can't help but cringe. Yeah, that was my first thought too. So I'm guessing you know already why Virginia wanted me to talk to you, I ask, and Jacob nods. Her mom is really insistent that we hold the wedding at Ravane Cottage, he says. I'm sorry about that. She is in no position to ask you for anything, especially how she treated you when you visited her house. I just stare at him. Wait, how do you know about that? You weren't there. No, but my dads were, he replies. They told me that they were really laying into you. Apparently, a lot of people later said that it was uncomfortable to watch, but no one wanted to be the one to do anything about it. Wow, I say. I feel like I should say something more about what happened that night, but that was in the past, and I had to let it go. So we should just get this all out on the table. Do you want to hold the wedding at Ravane Cottage? Jacob just laughs. Grabby would never agree to that. No, probably not, I agree. Virginia doesn't want it to be this whole big spectacle that her mom is making it out to be. How do you feel about it? I think I'm still in shock, Jacob admits. Like, all of a sudden, I have to marry Virginia? I don't even remember writing that contract with her, but we were really young at the time. Honestly, I'm just more stuck on the thought that I could have lost my magic and my family and my friends and everything I've worked my entire life for because of one mistake. I can see that, I venture, and having a big celebration will only make it feel like it's celebrating something that could have ruined your entire life. Jacob pauses for a moment. I didn't think of it that way, but you've got a point. Virginia is my friend, and I care about her. I'm worried we're not going to be friends anymore after this is over. The way her parents are acting is definitely not helping things between our families. What? I ask, blinking stupidly at him. Virginia says you two get along in groups, but that secretly you hate each other. We act like we hate each other, Jacob admits, but I thought that was just our thing. We've always teased each other ever since we were kids. Does she actually think I hate her? I think she's not sure how to feel, I say after a moment. You only want the contract to last a year and a day, right? Jacob nods. Yeah, see, her parents are acting like you have to be married for the rest of your natural lives. They're planning on sending the two of you off on some big week-long honeymoon over spring break. Jacob can't help but make a face. I didn't know any of that, he admits, but if they're really giving her that hard of a time, I should step in and say something. You probably should, I agree. Virginia wants me to do it. I mean, I'll do it if I have to, but it's not really my place to say anything. Although, if you do have to go on a big week-long honeymoon, you should invite the rest of us along. We'll turn it into one big vacation. Now, that sounds like it could be fun, Jacob says as he pushes his glasses up his nose. But considering what you just said, I really need to talk this out with Virginia. I don't want her thinking that I hate her when she's easily one of my best friends. I think you both just need to be super honest with your feelings towards one another, I tell him. I have no idea if Virginia has feelings for you, but if you have feelings for her, you need to say something. Even if it's super awkward, you both just have to be really honest about everything from here on out. Her parents? Well, it sounds like more her mom, anyway, is making life really difficult for her, and she has the potential to make your life a living hell too. The more united you and Virginia are, the less you have to deal with it. That's a great point, Jacob admits before he shakes his head. I can't believe this is happening to us right before graduation. I was so focused on going to college, and now I don't know what's going to happen. You can still go to college, I point out. Like you said, the contract lasts a year and a day. Then, after that, you and Virginia can go your separate ways but still remain friends. Just because you're married doesn't mean you can't still go to college. Jacob nods and seems like he's about to say more before he gets to his feet. I should really talk to Virginia, he says. But thanks for the talk, Tori. I take it we'll be talking about this again too soon. It's fine, I say with a shrug. Virginia's my best friend. Happy to help. As he leaves the library, I suddenly get the sensation that I'm not alone. I cast True Sight and immediately wrinkle up my nose. Eavesdropping is considered rude, you know. Minnie sighs as she uncloaks herself, dropping down into Jacob's seat. How long did you know I was here for? The whole time, I lie through my teeth. I'm guessing Jacob told you about what happened? Virginia is your best friend, but Jacob is mine, Minnie reminds me. I was the first person he talked to after he found out. And, I ask, do you have any useful information for me? Considering how I'm somehow caught in the middle of this, the more information I have, the better. I have quite a bit, Minnie replies. That's why I was waiting until Jacob left before making myself known. There are a lot of things you should know, Tori, especially about their families. Well, something tells me that Jacob and Virginia are going to be talking for quite a while, I reply. So tell me whatever you think I need to know. You know that Jacob's family is wealthy and well-connected, Minnie begins, but they are basically like the Grabiners of America. You know that he has 2 fathers, right? That was a huge scandal when it first came out. Same-sex recreation isn't altogether taboo in the magical community, but marriage is, considering the difficulty of producing an heir. I don't think it's my place to tell you anything about how Jacob was born, but basically it was Virginia's parents who came to their defense. They really went to bat for them and worked for them to become socially accepted again. They lost a lot of standing after their relationship went public, and if it wasn't for Virginia's family, I don't know how they would be seen today. So Virginia's parents think that Jacob's parents owe them? I ask. Like, we helped give you your good standing back? Now marry our daughter so we share in that wealth too? Pretty much, Minnie says with a shrug. Jacob feels really guilty about it because, on one hand, he wants to repay that debt. On the other hand, it's ruining Virginia's life in the process. But is he? I ask skeptically. Virginia is acting really weird about this whole thing. What if she really did have feelings for him, and now it's like, because of all this drama, it'll never happen? I don't know, Minnie replies. You know her better than I do. Has she mentioned that she's interested in Jacob? I know literally absolutely nothing about her dating life, I admit. What about you and Jacob? Virginia seemed to think that you two might have had a thing for each other. We talked about it, Minnie says as she blushes and glances away. We have a lot of similar interests. We would probably make a good couple, but we agreed it would probably be best to just remain friends. There's nothing wrong with that, I remind her. It makes things a lot less difficult now, I guess. Now Virginia and Jacob just have to figure out how they feel about each other and see if they want to stay married. Like you and Professor Grabiner? Minnie asks as she smiles at me. Remember, he wanted to end the contract after a year too, but you made it work. Because it was work, I remind her, and Minnie laughs. Fingers crossed that Virginia and Jacob never have to go through any memory wiping to prove their feelings for each other. Agreed, Minnie says. For what it's worth, they both want to keep the wedding small. I suggested hosting it at the Glen. It's local and small, which means if we can say enough of our friends are coming, we can say there won't be room for all of the out-of-town relatives Virginia's parents want to invite. That's a great idea, I say, because it really is. I have to talk to Virginia about it tonight, of course, but it might just be easier to write to her parents myself and explain that we'll have the wedding at the Glen instead of at Ravane Cottage. If they hear it from Virginia, they'll probably just tell her to try harder, and I don't want this to hurt our friendship. I just hate that this is happening to them, Minnie sighs as she shakes her head. But it's a good reminder never to make promises, especially ones when you're 5 years old. It's a good cautionary tale, I agree. I wonder what Ellen would have said about it if she was here. I don't want to think about it, Minnie says quickly, glancing away. But, for what it's worth, Virginia has you, and I'm glad she does. Especially considering your position, there's not a chance that Virginia's parents would argue or question you. If you say it will happen at the Glen, then it's happening at the Glen, and that's that. I'm so glad that my rise to nobility has granted me the ability to protect my friends from their overbearing parents, I tease. I'll do as much as I can to keep her parents out of the wedding planning process, but when it comes to their marriage, those two are on their own.